What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Reviews Podcast. My name is Chris.
My name is Mike.
And we just want you to have a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas.
Yes, we do. Even if you don't celebrate it, have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, happy holidays. But we don't take a break. We're going to give you this podcast just like every other week.
Just like every other week.
Yep.
The reviews. And aren't you supposed to open with Welcome to Reviews or something? Wasn't it supposed to be like that?
Did I not sound really happy?
No, you just said Welcome to the Reviews Podcast.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
I thought you always said reviews.
Oh, okay. I'll do it for the listeners. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Reviews Podcast.
Wow. That just changed the whole mood.
It did. Okay, all right. Roll the intro music. On the Reviews Podcast, we talk about David Dobrik's podcast. Everything he talks about with Jason Nash, we talk about their topics, and we give our own opinions as well. So let's get started. David first talks about his podcast being the best podcast for like newbies to podcasts, and saying that majority of his podcast is just making fun of Jason. And that kind of, I would say that's kind of true. Like, majority of his shit is just poking fun at Jason.
That is true.
It is. But I would say our podcast is a little bit more user or newbie friendly.
Yeah. It's more, they're just having a conversation amongst themselves. We're like almost having a conversation, like a four-way conversation. Like it's them and us. And
right.
There's just them. And so there's just something missing. So it's
and we're really opinionated on what they talk about and talking about them. And normally people don't get the chance to like speak their mind about famous people, right? So like there's a relatable topic that I think listeners can kind of join in on, right? Yeah. So
Jason asks if David has ever been blown away by a podcast, and David says he doesn't listen to podcasts, so he hasn't been.
I figured that too. Like, when does he have time to listen to any podcast, if not his own?
Well, I remember listening to him on a. I don't know if I sent you the link or you sent me the link or whatever, but he was being interviewed, and he was talking about how that's something about that he didn't think that he didn't understand why people listen to podcasts, and he was talking about when it was pitched to him, he thought that was like, how does that make sense? And even now, sort of him understanding that people use it when they drive in the car and replacing it with music and whatever, and so that was kind of new to him. Do you know which interview I'm talking about?
No.
Because he also talked about this surprised the hell out of me. In that same interview, he talked about how many times when they're doing the podcast that they just have to stop for maybe 3 or 4 hours in the middle to come back to have more information to fill the 40 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, I was so shocked.
That's weird.
Yeah, I was so shocked.
That's interesting too.
Yeah, it was. It's definitely a good video to. It's cool when people interview him. I mean, that's kind of like with us having these conversations. Like, we have ended up around them and we all just had a conversation. It will flow so well because we're all on the same page. We're all thinking about the same stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What is this? No, I don't know about this, but maybe his host Steve is Steve because Jason passes away. What? I forget.
So he started talking about, like, what if somebody in the future is listening to this podcast, because they were talking about their ages, that he was 45 and he was 22. So so if somebody in the future was listening to this podcast, but I guess maybe they would be confused because David's new host is Steve.
Yeah.
because Jason died. But they
That's
were
right.
listening to an old podcast, so they're like, "Who's this Jason guy?"
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah. Again, poking fun at Jason, uh, which is pretty much majority of their podcast.
So David's dad texted him to bring his brother a Vlog Squad hoodie. I need to go look it up and see what that thing looks like. At 6:30 in the morning. So that's this first thing that he texts at 6:30 in the morning. Bring your brother a hoodie. And 10 minutes later, almost like as a oh by the way, texted him on another note, FBI was just here looking for you.
Yeah, I heard that, and that was pretty intense.
But look how casually it was.
It
Why is
was.
the first thing? Oh, your brother needs a hoodie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the FBI was here.
Yeah, that's weird. But maybe it's because his parents are foreign, and like they. I don't know how to like. I don't know how
and
to
he
express that, but
and he doesn't talk like they have broken English, or like
right,
even the text that he sent was normal.
right.
On another note,
Yeah.
that's not the typical Slovakian.
Yeah, broken English. But yeah, that's crazy. And like David goes on explaining why the FBI was at the house, and basically someone was impersonating him via email, and it was like David Dobrik something at gmail.com or something like that. And I guess doing or sending bomb threats directly to the FBI, saying that there were going to be different parts of the U.S. that were going to be bombed or something like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucked up. And how stupid and ballsy. I guess no, it's pure stupidity, because you have to think you're most likely going to get caught.
Right.
And yeah, so the FBI went to his parents' house, asked him if David was there. He wasn't. And then they called David himself, and then they just wanted to verify that it wasn't him. And they knew, because they watched his vlogs to figure out who David Dobrik was. And Jason definitely made fun of him, like, oh yeah, that's definitely not him, because he does stupid shit anyway.
Well, and I like the conversation about like how his dad was covering for him when the FBI guy said, "Hey, is David Dobrik live here?" And his dad just said no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but to hear that him talking to the FBI guy, David wanted to know the reaction of his father when the FBI got there. So the FBI guy told him that, yeah, I get to the door and I asked that, and your dad says no. And so after talking to him about 30 seconds more,
He found out he was his
they
dad.
found out that was his dad, and he said that he was kind of. He said, "What did he say?" It didn't say he was pissed.
He was just upset that he didn't just start with that. So
he's angry that his dad didn't start with that. But that is cool. He's like, "Does David Dobrik live here?" No.
yeah,
That's awesome.
and then David goes into talking about, like, thinking that the FBI is so badass, and that he used to want to be in the FBI. But then Jason makes a comment thinking that the FBI job itself, like, there's different positions, but in general, he thinks it's boring. And actually, after he said that, I think it might be. I think for the most part, I would say like 80% of FBI jobs are boring. You probably have to be a special agent with a high security clearance to like do the crazy stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's just like cops, they do have some crazy shit go down, but it's not like, it's probably like 1% of their interactions end up like with some problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, I honestly wanted to be an FBI agent a long time ago, because I was like, oh, I want to be a cop, but I want to be like a specialized cop. But I think someone told me, like, it's not, the FBI is kind of a scary job to have, because usually the FBI deals with a lot of like cartels and like things like that, and like if they figure out who you are, you're fucked.
Right. Yeah. Any of those kind of jobs. But at some point, David was trying to figure out what David still couldn't understand. How could somebody impersonate him? And they were saying that they were him, and and Jason was explaining, you can make certain emails or whatever, but then David says, you know, there's only one David Dobrik. Uh,
Oh yeah. I remember
yeah,
this.
so that was kind of a big thing. There's only one David Dobrik, and he's the only one. And I guess Jason Googled it and found another David Dobrik and was showing his face or whatever. But
But
that's it.
wasn't in the U.S.
But wasn't in the U.S. Right?
Yeah,
I
wasn't
mean,
in the
I
U.S.
never thought about that name as being so unique. But no, I mean, I never consciously thought about it. But I guess it
Right.
is pretty damn unique, even
You're
though
right.
the first name is so common. Just
Yeah.
his last name just fucks it up.
Yeah.
But I think something about that comes up later, so I just want to make sure we talked about that.
Okay.
But David asks, Jason asks, do you ever get accused of something and think that maybe you did it? So I think
Yeah,
I
that's a weird question.
yeah,
The only time I can think of anything that could happen like that is if you're blacked out drunk.
yeah, okay. So in that case, for sure, 100%. On the other case, I guess something might have happened that you could have done, but you don't think you did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have had like, not, I can't really think of any, but where you just have that moment that you're like, I hope I didn't do that.
Yeah, I've had that moment. Like I've had that moment, but I can't think of an example of it. You know what I mean? Like if I asked you right now for an example of what he's trying to say, like could you give me one? Because it's kind of hard. I understand what he's saying, but the only like real simple
I
way to explain it is if you're blacked out drunk.
and I think there's something. I think it seems like it'd be trivial too. It wouldn't be like as extreme as they were talking about. Like he ran over people.
Yeah.
Um, but the example I would give you is like, um, did you eat the last cookie? No, there were cookies left in there when I got it. But then maybe you think, were there any left in there?
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah,
Yeah, but what Jason said he doesn't remember, right? Or something like that.
right. But
Yeah.
but he said that his friend would see a car chase on TV that kills 3 people, and the guy does a hit and run. He sees it on the news, but he would freak out because he would be thinking he's the one doing that.
Whoa.
Yeah, now
That's weird.
that's weird. Um, but then David goes on to ask, do you ever think about a decision you made that could have killed another person? So he talked about like driving, and I cut a car off, and because of that specific act,
You change like the timing of everything.
yeah, 30 minutes later, there's a car wreck and somebody's dead because of what you did.
I've thought of that.
Really? Like
Yeah.
in what way?
Well, no, you think time will never stop, right? And so, like, every single thing that happens and delays you or progresses you forward faster in something you've done changes like a ripple of everything that's going to happen. So I've always thought about especially the car, like because I stopped at this stoplight instead of going through the yellow, did I just save myself? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny that he brought that up because I like, man, am I the only one that thinks like this? Like,
Well, it's kind of like, you can tell me if you think this is related, but it's kind of like being at the concert when the shooting started to happen.
Uh-huh.
Like, okay, so you've seen it so many times, and this is what I thought the last couple of times, which kind of a little chilling. Um, you see the concert, the Vegas concert shooting, and then the California, I don't know if that was a bar shooting or something.
Right.
Um,
Florida one at a bar too.
and a Florida one.
Yeah.
But these last couple, I was thinking like, you know, we're all at all kind of places all the time, everybody around the world, and like you're not in a situation right now, but let's say you were at an outdoor concert, and what is going to go through your mind when you realize I'm in this now? I've seen so much of it, but it's here now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it'd be fucking nuts.
But you just be like, wow, how is it me,
Exactly. I think like every time I imagine myself like, man, what if I was there? I would think like out of a like in the entire world, how is it happening here and now?
Right.
You know what I
But
mean?
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that look at how many times this happens to these people, like these kids we see on TV from Parkland. You know, they were just normal people, and then they were in that moment, like it's fucking happening here.
yeah, and there's nothing you can do. Like you just
Right.
have to deal with it. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and how many fucking lives that affected around the world. Like
Right.
just the ripple effect for brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers. Because somebody just said something about that oh, they had sent a guy was out of town, but he lived in Vegas, and uh, he was getting texts, you know, and this is just one guy, you know what I
Right.
mean? And he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
So yeah, damn.
Did you hear about the one? This is kind of on topic, but did you hear about the one in Florida though, where the shooting happened at that bar, and then the mom heard about it on the news or something, and I think the family, so the sister as well, or something like this, and then they were trying to call her phone, and the daughter wasn't picking up, and unfortunately, she was one of the people that got shot, and she got killed. But what they did do is look up her Find My Friends,
Uh-huh.
and her dot was in the bar after everything was done with. So, like, they already could tell. Isn't that creepy?
They could already tell that she was dead.
Yeah, because, like, she would have not been in that area. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if she was safe, like, that fucking sucks.
Yeah. Unless she dropped her phone.
Yeah, or yeah, that. But, I mean, that's what they had to see, and they could only think, a few things, and that's crazy.
Well, can you believe how many? Like, I would like to think that. I hope I'm this way. If there's some kind of situation, the number of people that had to go pick up their phones, there were so many. They had to set up like a whole system for you to come get your phone.
Really?
Yeah, I would like to think I wouldn't drop my phone, but maybe if you're getting shot at.
Yeah, you don't know. And depending on the pants you wear that day, some of those pants are like short pocketed. You might
Right.
crouch and you'll drop out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, that could be okay.
Yeah. Let's move on. But yeah, that's a crazy topic, and like hopefully this shit stops. But
But I hope that I like how they were talking about how David brought up that. Well, that's actually the
drive
reason
so
I drive so
fast.
fast, because I'm saving a bunch of accidents.
Yeah.
Because they can't catch up to me.
All right.
That's
All right.
hilarious.
So they go into talking about their first ad, which was Robinhood. And if you haven't heard of Robinhood, it's an app and service for you to purchase and sell stocks. It's meant for beginners, but it's a simple interface, and you can buy and trade and sell stocks. But stocks. Um, but I suggest you shouldn't use it because the stock market is fucking crashing.
Right. Right.
I
And how
use Robinhood, and my shit is going down red every fucking day.
Robin Hood. And don't use them also, because I think that's like, isn't that like copyright off of Robin Hood? Like, you just literally stole the whole idea of a story, and of you giving people money with Robin Hood. Like, how is that okay?
I don't know, but you know what I think that is? I think they are a company who pretends they're Robinhood, and they steal from everyone through the app and then fucking give it to themselves.
Absolutely.
Fuck.
They're assholes.
They are. Don't use them.
So
Ignore their shit.
David didn't know LeBron had sons. I did know that. David's friend told him that LeBron's 12-year-old is going to be eligible in 5 years to play for the NBA.
Right.
In 6 years.
Right.
And that they will be playing in the NBA at the same time. That is fucking crazy.
If he makes it.
If he makes it.
Yeah.
But I don't see why he wouldn't. Like, LeBron at this point would know. He's 12 years old, is old enough to know if a kid is on that level.
Right.
Yeah.
And that.
So, oh yeah, that'd be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge LeBron fan, but I mean, he's a great player, but I'm just not a big fan of his. But that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And then Jason talks about Snoop's kid. So this is crazy. So Snoop had actually was so into football and having his kid play football that he actually set up like little leagues or schools or something for kids to get ready for football. And Snoop's son got a scholarship to go play at UCLA, which is big time because UCLA is a huge football school.
Mm-hmm.
And his first week, the kid gets to UCLA, and after his first week, he tells Snoop that tells his dad, this is your dream,
Right.
not his. Wow, that's rough.
That's rough and so fucking scary to tell your dad that. You know?
Well, I mean, fuck, why'd you wait so long?
Right. You went through
Like, I
all
mean,
that.
he could have got over it already a long time ago.
Yeah, and you could have been concentrating on something else that you wanted to do.
Right. Oh shit! Look how much time that took away from him.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
That sucks.
That's why I quit stuff when I was little. Like, did I tell you I used to be a Boy Scout?
No. The fuck?
Yeah.
You don't know how to do shit.
Yeah, I can pretty much do everything.
No.
I've survived in many wildernesses.
Fucking parks.
I kill my own food.
Stupid.
Start my own fires. But anyway, that's kind of crazy. But isn't it also crazy about the circles of these social media people? Like, they're able to one of his friends having a conversation with LeBron.
Yeah.
The other friend having a conversation with Snoop.
Yeah, that's weird, and it's awesome.
It's in their circle. Yeah. Like, it's they always converge. I was trying to think of somebody who, like, every time I see somebody show up on somebody's stream, it's just so weird to me, the connection between all of these people, because they're all people will all be in their little corners of the types of people that are friends that hang out together, that are in videos together. And then next thing you know, you'll just see one of them in David's vlog.
Right, but so here's what I think. Do you actually think they are genuine, or will become, or are genuine friends, or do they see another person who is famous, whether it be one direction or two direction, like, oh, I can get more exposure here, you know?
Right. Yeah. I think well, I think exposure, but also just the connections. The fact that, like, I'll see somebody, like, let me give an example. Well, like I told you, there was the one guy, Keemstar, who has his group of people that he hangs out with, and he does a lot of the You Now stuff, and even the other media coverage of who's doing what, Logan Paul's fight and all that shit, telling the news.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, just all of a sudden, never heard his name, anything, even mentioned in the community, and he's on ICE's stream.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the fuck?
Doesn't make sense.
How do you know? How do you know each other? Like, where did you come from? But that's cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be doing that. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
What's up, David? David and Jason were talking about the fact that, like, what did his dad want? What did David's dad? Jason wanted to know, what did David's dad want him to be? And he said that his dad's dream was to be a director, and so he feels that that's kind of related to, like, what he's doing now.
No, it's really related to what he's doing now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Yeah, so I don't know why his dad wanted to be a director. I mean, that's kind of a weird. It's kind of a weird profession. Like that's not a typical thing for a dad to tell their son to do. You know what I mean?
Right. But it was spot on.
It was very spot on. It's crazy.
But so
and
Jason.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Jason's dad wanted him to play football real badly, but he said he had to confess to his dad that he's a total pussy.
Yeah.
And David says, I don't think he needed to confess that. I'm sure he could have figured that out.
Yeah.
That was pretty quick. Good one on David there. But Jason plays basketball, but David's making a compliment. But I mean, I understand what he's saying. Do you understand what he's saying when he says
do.
that David says that Jason is good at old man basketball.
Right.
And he's saying that he really appreciates it and whatever, but Jason thinks he's just being an asshole.
Yeah.
So,
Wait, real quick. Could you? Is your mic like laying on your shirt or something? Because it's like making noise.
Oh.
Just lift it up a little bit while you talk. And we're back. Go ahead.
So they go to this place to eat. Jason and Trisha went ahead of David because they were really hungry, and so David was going to meet him later. But of course, it sounds to me it's this whole little. So he shows up 15 minutes after they get there, which was his plan anyway, because he wants his food to be ready or whatever. So, but when they get there, I guess since celebrities go to this place, they're called the Palms, that Jason and Trisha are at. The person seating him says, "Who are you meeting?" And he said Trisha, but then he said he couldn't remember their last names, and so the hostess thought that David was paparazzi.
Yeah, because he had a camera in his hand because he's a vlogger.
Right. And so I guess since they have celebrities there all the time, those guys have to keep people away.
Right. They have to stay outside the restaurant.
Yeah, and they have to but the people that work there have a different kind of job, because they're like, actually being rude to a customer potentially.
Correct.
Like they were in this case, and think that he's paparazzi. But then John Stamos from Full House walks up to David while he's there. That would be pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
That he would come to see you and ask how you're doing, and then that gave David satisfaction.
Right, right in front of the hostess, being like, "Yeah, bitch, like I know people."
and I bet you that happens a lot.
Yeah,
because she's just doing her job.
Right.
It's not like she was doing anything personal against David.
No, not at all.
But how many of the people coming to eat there come with a camera?
Right. Nobody.
And when somebody does have a camera that comes there, why do they have a camera?
Right.
Only for one reason. He's like 1 in a million.
Yeah.
John Stamos is not going to be walking around with a camera.
Nope. He doesn't need to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I thought that was that was cool.
That's super cool. Yeah. And I think, I'm pretty sure John Stamos saw what was happening and probably just came up and said, "Hey, yo,"
Right. Just knew that. Yeah. Because why else would he come up? Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he could still stand up, but that's cool that he took him back to his table, and the Full House daughters were there.
Yeah.
Dang.
They were in his next vlog too. I don't know if you saw it, but they were in the next vlog.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen it. I figured they would be. I was going to try to catch up, but I've been so busy. Jason ordered chicken parmesan, and I think he was telling the story to talk about the fact they charged him for 3 sauces, which I didn't understand anything he was talking about.
Yeah, that didn't make no sense. They started talking about sauces, and I didn't understand anything they said.
Yeah, they're charging for 3 sauces for his parmesan, but when he said chicken parmesan, he said it like that, kind of like chicken parmesan.
Yeah.
And David thought, "Why do you say it like that? Does it sound like you're better than everybody else?" He's like, "No, it's just chicken parmesan." And I think David was kind of like, "Chicken parmesan."
Right. No, I heard it though. The first time he said it, he did say it in a weird way. He was like, "Chicken parmesan," like something like that. And when David said it, I was like, "Oh shit, he caught him."
Oh, you thought about it right away?
Yeah, I thought about it. I was like, why did he say it so weird? Yeah. And then yeah, David was saying it exactly like how any normal person is like, "Oh yeah, I got chicken parmesan." Like just normal. And then Jason was like, "Yeah, so I got the chicken parmesan," like that or some shit. It was like a weird accent.
Chicken parmesan.
Yeah.
So Josh Peck and John Stamos went to a hospital to visit sick kids, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And so they FaceTimed David to so he could talk to the kids too, which was pretty dope. But I think this is another one of those things that's right in David's face, and he's so oblivious. They were like, but he's talking about how exciting it was and how great it is that they're doing this. And then Jason's like, "Yeah, we should we should do something like that or whatever. But then David just continues ranting about how great it was, but it's like it didn't pop into his head that we should do this.
Right. I don't know if maybe he's not comfortable with it.
With going to visit kids.
Yeah.
Well, he's FaceTiming them.
Yeah, I get it, but because he's maybe being put on the spot.
I don't know. I think he just doesn't realize, like, hey, you like that stuff because that's good stuff. So why don't you do it?
Yeah, no, it's really good. I like when famous people do that type of thing. But then I tried to put myself in like their shoes, and it's like that's kind of a very sensitive subject and like a situation, and like you kind of have to be like super strong for that, and maybe like because David's personality. I mean, he like tells you that he sweats and he gets so nervous, like, and I think maybe if you were to ask him, he might have a explanation of some sort. Maybe, I don't know, because why wouldn't he have done it already? Like, there's so many young kids that enjoy him, right?
Well, I mean, the last thing they talked about charity-wise, Jason kind of mentioned we should do something too when they were giving the firefighters masks.
Yeah.
So he sees all these examples, but
he never acts on them.
He hasn't done it. But yeah, it is super cool when people go to when athletes go out in the communities and schools and stuff like that. That's kind of what sucks about Hawaii is there's not any big thing.
Right.
Like there's no baseball team or the most is like UH.
Yeah.
And I don't know how exciting everybody really gets about that. I'm sure some
people really do, but for the most part, not really.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be like the majority.
Right. Yeah, and then so Jason and David go into their next ad. It was an ad, right, for 23andMe? Yeah, so they talk about 23andMe, and Jason actually did do it. Last podcast, we thought he was just making it up, but he actually did do it, found out he is 25% Italian, and randomly, I guess Jason says he should stop eating pizza, and David looked at his belly and says that he's not. What did he say?
David asked Jason, "Are you looking? Should you stop? You should stop eating pizza because you're looking at your belly." And Jason says, "No, I'm not looking at it. I'm feeling it on my body." Joe laughs in the background.
Yeah, his little chuckle.
But it started earlier that when David told him he should stop eating so much pizza.
Right.
And then he got a little epiphany in the middle of it. He said, "I really should stop eating pizza." That's what made him say it.
But if you are thinking about getting 23andMe, I don't think you should. We've talked about this in the podcast before, but you're basically giving away all your information. I actually just read an article, and there are law enforcement branches who are already asking these genetic companies for everyone's information. They're already asking to have it so they can have it in their database as well. And not only that, since it's not regulated, insurance companies such as health insurance companies could request for this too, so that they can give you higher insurance premiums or deny you of coverage because you're a higher risk of cancer or a higher risk of some abnormality.
Yeah, think about like life insurance.
Exactly. So because it's unregulated, once you give up your DNA to somebody and it's in a database, if for some reason these life insurance, health insurance companies do have access to it, and you go and apply for it for whatever reason, or your family member, let's say your future kid, but because you already have your DNA on file, your kid's DNA is technically on file too. So they may get denied.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Again.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
If 23andMe calls after Christmas and said, "We'll give you $5,000 to do a 23andMe ad," would you be ethical or stick to your morals about advertising a product that you would never use?
Fuck no, I would do it right away. People have the choice to fucking do it. No way. I'll tell you I wouldn't take it, but fuck that. If you guys want to take it and they're going to give me money to talk about it, fine. Fuck that. I mean, it's not dangerous. You're not gonna kill yourself, you know.
We just went from doom and gloom to
You know,
hey.
they just spit in a tube. Oh, and actually, remember we talked about this in the last podcast. I did watch their tutorial, and you do spit in a tube. Like, it looks so awkward. Have you seen it? Yeah, so they send you a fucking tube with like a mouthpiece opening, and then you literally just spit into it and close it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fucking disgusting. It's like, it's not even nice. So yeah, you don't take a Q-tip and swab your cheek. You just spit into a tube. I think you additionally do the swab too, but you do spit into a tube. Yeah, it's weird. But I thought about it too. I'll bring this up while we're talking about it. And even though I think you shouldn't give up your information because of all the things we talked about, I kind of want to do it. I just want to know.
Well, since Jason makes such a big deal about him being 25% Italian, like what did he think he was?
Right. I think that's
like if 25% is all of a sudden such a huge chunk, like how did he miss that?
Right. And that's what I think. What if because technically there's no real information of who we are, right? Like we're just told it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a cool way. But when I say I would want to take this, and I think if people do want to take this, I think we should just wait for more. I think we should wait for more regulations on it, to protect our data.
What if really?
I still think that's a risky thing, but still.
What if because of the way people created words and everything, what if everybody's mistaken and like you're black because black could mean white,
right?
It just got mixed up, so you're the one that's black,
right?
And what if we're all wrong,
right?
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So David's friend snapped a pic of Alex miserable because of their flight and captioned the face when you come back from David's fantasy of a life. Oh, okay, I remember this. So, yes, David's friends from his hometown came to visit David and hang out with him in LA. And they had such a great time because, usually when his friends are over, his friends get treated to everything. David just pays for everything. And so, it's almost like going to an amusement park, I would assume. And, they catch a flight going back home, and they're probably so exhausted and just fucking probably hungover too. And yeah, David just talks about how funny it is because it's really a fantasy of no one else can imagine David's type of life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I don't know if I heard this before. I think I might have, but Jason wants to move David's friend,
yeah,
Demo or Dino or whatever, to live with Jason, which I think is hilarious. Yeah. He just wants to bring this guy, pay him $10 more than David pays Natalie, which is crazy, and to come live in his house and do nothing.
Right.
That's crazy. That's funny.
But it's hilarious.
That might make some really good content.
Right.
And especially if the guy's dumb. And they said they just thought it would be funny to hear him tell everybody, "Oh no, I get paid to live here."
Yeah. and like in the vlogs every so often. So, what are you doing today? Oh, just chilling.
Yep, just playing. And it'd be funny to see them all together. Natalie over there too.
Yeah, and working her ass off.
He's chilling, playing Xbox, and she's getting Chipotle, right. And probably because David wants somebody to eat with, get him Chipotle too.
Oh, you fucked up.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
All right.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how that works out. But David asked, "Have you ever done something where you cheated?" He asked Jason, "Has he ever done something where he cheated?" And Jason said he used to cheat on physics tests. And then David, like surprised, asked, "You didn't cheat on all your tests? You didn't cheat on all your classes?"
Right.
He was like, why just physics? That would never have been my next question. Wait, you just cheated in math? That's funny. Um, but and then just he does this every now and then. I don't know if you caught this. David just literally went from that topic to saying, oh yeah, one of my teachers got fired for touching students, and that was it. And then they went to the next topic. So I thought that was
I heard him say it, but yeah, it was
it,
such a short thing.
it just like popped into his head. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, um, yeah, everybody's cheated. I think most people have cheated.
Yeah, there's no way you don't. Even the smart kids, I guarantee have. Like the kids that are like straight A students.
Right.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't cheat on everything all the time, but I for sure cheated.
Oh, you know, as I grew up, I cheated more.
Yeah. Well, I remember being at the UTSA, which is University of Texas at San Antonio. So I'm going there, and uh, I was working too, so I had to go somewhere for my job. Um, and so the teacher let me take a business law exam. Let me take it early.
Right.
Um, so for whatever reason, I had all of the. I don't know. Maybe she graded it or he graded it, but I had all the answers. And I go and get in the elevator, and I recognize some of the people. So they're like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Hey, what's up? Are you ready for that test tomorrow or whatever?" And I was like, "Oh no, I just took it because I'm not going to be here." So I took it early, and the guy was like, "I'll give you $200 for your test." And I was like, "Sure." Yeah. So not only did I cheat, I helped people cheat.
Wait, so they gave it back to you?
No, I didn't want it back.
Oh. So wait, how did you give them? What'd you give them?
The test, the graded
Oh.
test.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. So they gave it back to you.
No, they didn't give it back to me.
No, I'm saying the teacher, the instructor, they gave you the
Yeah,
graded thing. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I would have said yes too.
And I
Okay.
was thinking, you could have just said like 20, and I probably would have said yes.
Yeah, I would have made copies instead. I would have said, "Tell your friends."
But good thing that was stupid though. Good that like my shit could be all over the place, and it would come right back to me.
Right.
But all I have to do is say that I lost it.
Yeah.
I'm such a liar.
You're a horrible person.
So Jason talks about Kathy Griffin, which I think is interesting that he just randomly brings up Kathy Griffin,
Yeah.
the girl who held Trump's head.
Yeah.
But you know, it's so weird. Lil Wayne's new album has a comment about Kathy Griffin. Logic has his album has a comment about Kathy Griffin, and Eminem's album talked about Kathy Griffin. What I don't understand, I wonder, I don't get it. I need to go back and listen more deeply or whatever. But what are they? Why is everybody just randomly talking about Kathy Griffin right now? That happened so long ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Jason was talking about her being on the no-fly list, and she's like, "How can she fly somewhere if she's on the no-fly list?" But David thinks that it was too much for her to do that. What do you think? I mean, it's cringy and
Yeah, so for the listeners who don't know who this person is, she's a comedian, right?
mm-hmm.
She's a comedian, and she was making some kind of an announcement against Donald Trump, and she was holding a fake Donald Trump severed head up, and so she got very like a bunch of backlash, and so over time, I guess she got put on a no-fly list, and I think that was from Donald Trump's administration. Like they just made it difficult for her life, right? So she can still fly, but they pull her to the side every time she flies and just disrupts her process. And so David thinks that what she did was too much because even though you have your First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, there's some things that you shouldn't say in the public because you're enticing violence or promoting it. And I get exactly what he's saying, that there are some things you just shouldn't come up with, but Jason does make a point. It's like you kind of have to make your own judgment because some things could be seen as art, and it's just a hard thing.
Right.
It's just
Yeah, it's
hard.
tough.
Yeah.
I don't think you can tell her that she can't do that because she didn't do anything. It's not like it was the plans, you know, the assassination plans. Then you could be like, okay, you can arrest him for that. You have assassination plans, but it's not just because of an image. So it was weird though that David was on the side that, hey, you shouldn't be able to do that. And Jason thought, yeah, you should. And what do you think? I think you definitely should be able to do that.
What, speak your mind?
No, but what she did, should you be able to do that legally?
Nah, I'm gonna disagree with you. I think she went too far.
So you think it should be illegal?
I don't think it should be illegal. I think she should get bad PR. I don't think.
Okay,
I don't
but
think.
that's not what she's getting. She's
Right.
on the no-fly
Right.
list
She's
or
getting
whatever list she's on
punished.
because she's on those because she's considered a threat.
Right. I get it, and I think that's just Donald Trump's administration, just kind of being, like that childish, like, oh, you're gonna say some shit about me? Okay, I'll fucking ruin your life, kind of thing.
Right.
But I don't think it should be illegal. I think she deserves bad PR because it's kind of in bad taste. It's again, it's a tough decision, especially if you don't know all the information and that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's I mean, you're always making, especially comedians, you're making choices like what jokes are you going to say, how far are you going to go, and the other
most are
side is
risky.
and the other side is just waiting for a chance to come at you,
Right.
and so they did, but she
fucked up.
Yeah, she fucked up. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have done it. But yeah, she shouldn't be going through. She should. I mean, she's got to take what she takes. People that like Kathy Griffin still like Kathy Griffin. I think she's annoying. I think she's so annoying.
I never watched her.
She lost her job doing that. She used to do the New Year's countdown with Anderson Cooper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she lost that job.
Oh.
But yeah, so.
David goes into talking about if he could be president because he's pretty much morally correct in probably everything that he thinks he is. And then he doesn't think that rich people should pay more in taxes than someone who makes less.
Wait, but don't you find it weird that just in David's like just normal thought flow, nothing significant, that he just thought, hey, you know what? I could be president.
Right. It was random.
Like
again.
That he was consciously thinking, oh, I could be president. I guess I could do that.
Do you think that was a moment in their podcast where they stepped away for 3-4 hours and came back? You just don't know.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't know, right?
So some of these things are just little snippets.
Yeah.
Oh, I got something.
Yeah.
I got something very quick.
Exactly.
So, and shit, how long... now that even adds one more thing. How long does Joe have to wait to do his fucking teeny weeny podcast?
Right.
Because they start at 9 and then they end up at 7 p.m.
Right.
Still doing the podcast. Hey, let's go take a break.
Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll still talk about the same shit because it's already planned out for us.
But he'll but he does think that he's like, I don't think you should pay more taxes because you make more.
Right.
And he's talking about percentage wise. And Jason was like, are you talking about percentage wise or dollar wise? So basically you get into each bracket and there's a different tax bracket. And I think Jason made a good point. Somebody that's in the lowest tax bracket, they may be making, $25,000 a year. $30,000 a year, and there's tons of people. There's obviously many more people making that than are making anything close to the top.
Right.
I mean, when you look at just, some of the statistics are like, you're talking about people that have once you break $100,000 a year, you're pretty much in the top 10%.
Right.
And that's not that much money.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Right. So, but you're in the top 10%. So. Look at all these families. So somebody who thinks like David, I don't get it. That person who's making $30,000 a year to support their family.
Well, he explains himself. He explains that he doesn't think rich people should be taxed more because they just made more, because most likely those rich people are doing more for their community or giving back to their community. And I get what he's saying, but I think that's like 1% of the 1%.
Right.
That's not every rich person.
Right.
And
And the tax brackets are so close anyway.
right.
It's not like it's not like it's that huge of a difference. But there's a big. I think Jason understood it more in terms of like, hey, you got $1 million. This guy's got $100. Let's only take $10 from this guy because he's only going to have 90 left.
Right.
Like I wish David could see it from that perspective. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It completely
So,
makes sense.
but hey, you have $1 billion. So we need more of what you're still going to have a shit ton more money than everybody else, but we just need a little bit more from you.
Right.
Because you have the benefit of having much more than I could ever take from this guy.
But I do get, okay, here's where I don't agree with David, but I kind of understand where he's coming from. It's like, well, I earned it and I made this money. Why should I get taxed more for it? Like I worked my ass off to get to where I am right now. Like if you didn't do that, well, that's on you. You know what I mean? I think that's how he's thinking.
You're right. Yeah, he said something like that.
Yeah.
That, isn't the whole point of this game to, just make as much money as you can?
Right.
Absolutely. But that distribution, you shouldn't take so much from somebody who doesn't have much.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And your example that you just said about the $100, $90, and like the same percentage being taken away from someone else that's rich, they have so much to protect themselves, to feed their family with. But that person who's not making enough, who have to pay bills, and I think Jason explained that too. Like they're gonna struggle really hard.
Right. So, and I do think I get what he's saying. He's the boss, so he's helping other people make money. And he started to say this: the CEO for Target shouldn't have to pay a penalty. He should be getting. He started to say that he should be getting something because he's helping out everybody. But it's just I don't think he understands that concentration of wealth that's at the top. It's kind of like a circle. The very few people own everything.
Right.
Like very few people own everything in the entire world, and they give people a little bit of money. Nothing that's going to make anything go crazy, but then give them the money so they can go buy a car, so that person at the top gets that money.
Yeah.
And then, goes to McDonald's and gives us the money that we gave them back. And I just feel like it's that kind of a circle.
Right.
You're never going to that joke, Chris Rock's joke, my favorite joke. He says, Michael Jordan thinks he's rich. Michael Jordan ain't rich. The white man that signs Michael Jordan's paycheck, that dude's rich.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So David,
funny. Like, and that other one where Bill Gates, where I think it was Chris Rock again. He says Oprah thinks she rich. If Bill Gates woke up with Oprah's money, he'd jump out the motherfucking window.
That's hilarious. But yeah, to answer David's question, I don't think he can be president. I don't care if he's morally correct. The fuck?
Why would he think that?
I don't know.
Like he's not remotely. Wow.
You think he has that mentality of an elitist because he's made it?
Yeah, that he thinks that that's something. Of course, Jason said, "Yeah, that is something you could do," because obviously he's talking about Trump. Yeah. But yeah, that is random as fuck. In no fucking way. Can you imagine? Man, he just wouldn't have the first clue.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just because of his age. I think if he was 20 years older, still no,
not at all. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a possibility. I would for sure put Jason in front of him. Hell, I put Joe in front of him. Yeah, for sure. Um, but anyway, Jason asked what it was like while David having all of his friends there. What it was like for David, or maybe he meant for his friends, but to
For
be
both. I think it's for both. It's for both.
to be around David, seeing that they have a little money and he has so much more money.
Right. This was a good topic. I like this one because it is weird, right? Like if you think of take your circle of friends right now,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them all of a sudden becomes like millionaire, like 100 millionaire,
Right.
like that is such a significant change. And does that money change your friend? And will things be the same with your friend? And so that's a good question because, like, it seems, and I think it's true. I think it hasn't changed their friendship at all. Like
And you know
his,
what? I think that's the way it is for most people. Unless if you're a naturally toxic person when you're poor, you're gonna be toxic when you're rich.
yeah,
But if you're just a good guy hanging out with people, those people are always going to be with you. Like
right,
Justin Timberlake's friends from when he was little are still with him. Because they're your real ones.
right,
You know what I mean? It's just the recent friends that you got to be aware of. And I think David's aware of that. Even I think you see that in when he listed his 5 best friends.
mm-hmm.
Like he has people that, and it's just, and it sounds to me like David, he's obviously proud of himself.
Of
But
course,
it's also fun for him to be able to. It's cool that he's able to do that for his friends.
right.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta speed this up because my phone's about to die.
But okay, so the other part I like
Sound like
that they the other part that they talked about is that um, so David says, so he was basically defending that it's okay for him to be telling them how much money that he makes, because his friends would be around when Natalie would talk about a $75,000 deal, and so their minds are being blown like by how much money, like he's spent $2,000 or $3,000 on a party
no,
or
on a bit.
on a bit. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, and so his friends were like, but David was trying to say, the vibe from Jason was, hey. Jason was that, well, you probably shouldn't be throwing how much money you make in their face, somebody who's only making $60,000 or whatever. And David's like, no, we've talked about money since we were kids, and so we still do it now. And I like how Jason gives an example. Yeah, your friend was like, yeah, when we were 16 washing cars. But yeah, maybe we don't need to talk about money anymore. But David still didn't get it. He was like,
yeah,
"Oh no, it's cool. We always talked about
right.
money."
Because it probably does get to people. I mean,
Yeah, his first thing when he made the $50 on the Vine, that was, of course, you're going to talk to your friends about that.
yeah, that's
You're all sitting
cool.
around at dinner. Yeah, it's going to be like, fuck yeah. But now they're at the point where everybody knows,
You're right,
so you don't need to talk about it.
right.
But yeah, it's cool they got to come and have fun.
But that is something funny too, because actually, I used to do it with 2 other friends, but now it's just the one. But I also talked to my friend about, like, we don't keep it from each other. We just keep telling each other, and I think it's a way to motivate us to keep kind of climbing over each other in
Oh, okay.
how much we make. Like we like check in like every year.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can see that. I haven't really ever done that, but
yeah,
um, so Jason gets a job after college to work at Bear Stearns, which is some kind of financial company.
yeah.
It's crazy. He's probably super smart. I think he had a degree in accounting, but he said they gave him a list of names and numbers to go down and call. And he said he did it for 30 days. 30
30 minutes.
minutes,
Yeah,
excuse me.
30
He did it
minutes.
for
Yeah.
30 minutes, and then he walked out. And kind of interesting, what was it like telling your parents? And then he's like, yeah, look what a great decision I made. I'm not doing that job.
Right.
It is crazy how his life kind of went.
Yeah.
Um, but he said that
His friend, who is a lawyer, who I think I don't know how it was related to that story, but he was saying at that Bear Stern company, that's where people started, and over time, you had you potentially could be making over 100K, like easy.
Right.
I think that was it.
Those kind of jobs, but yeah.
And then Jason started talking about a friend who was a lawyer making 500K, but he thinks that having so much money so quickly, I think the guy went kind of crazy, and he started doing tons of drugs, cocaine specifically, and he hated his life.
Yeah, and that's just personality.
Yeah.
So that doesn't. It's not just the money. It's like what kind of person you are. Yeah, you do as much. I came up with this a couple months ago. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I always try to compare so when people are talking about how somebody's stupid, like in your mind, just off the top of your head, do you think Justin Bieber does stupid shit?
Yeah. He used to, but not anymore.
But not anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
And I always try to find a way to explain this, that this person's not doing something like it seems super crazy to you, but I said, as humans, we can only do what we can afford to do. Right. So if tomorrow you're a billionaire, you're going to do things differently.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So don't hate on Justin Bieber, for what he's like. Okay, it is impossible for you to get a speeding ticket in your Lamborghini. You cannot do that.
Right.
But if you could, you would.
You're right.
So.
Yeah, and so after they talked about that topic about having a stressful job or a shitty job, David goes into talking about businesses in Japan where their buildings have nets at the bottom to catch people because they get so stressed out in Japan that they jump to commit suicide.
He got the country wrong. It's not in Japan. It's in China and maybe some other.
No. It's in Japan and China. There are some in Japan.
I don't know. I never heard of them.
Yeah. So there was one with the Apple company of people killing themselves, but in Japan it's stressful too. They even made a movie where they made a joke about it on Ready Player One. It's a bunch of Japanese businesses and people stressing out, and then they jump out the window. It's a thing, but in China more so because it was a big topic back when the iPhones, or Apple was under pressure because of Foxconn or whatever. But yeah, there are things that exist like that.
Well, so make sure you don't look. You can't look before you go in, but next time you go into work, don't look to see if there's a net, but jump out the window.
You're stupid.
We can see if it's in the U.S. But Jason congratulates David on 10 million subscribers. 10 million subscribers. That's dope.
That's crazy.
He talks about his party and tells him, Jason basically saying it was just a nice moment for everybody. And it was just kind of weird. It was, I don't think they understood each other. But I guess Jason was just kind of being sentimental about that they've been part of this, him getting the 10 million subs. And then he said, you're so, what did he say? He was making a compliment to David, saying that he's so great. Oh, he's so graceful. I was like, what the fuck? How does that word even fit? How does that even fit him? But yeah, it's like this guy, this Big Nick guy.
Which is the midget.
Yeah. The first time I saw Big Nick, he was with a total different group of people.
Right.
And then, so he shows up in there. So that was crazy. Big Nick helped him and is now a rapper. So Big Nick and Trisha have beef. I don't know why they have beef, but I thought it was cool because I could see Big Nick. I could hear, because I haven't watched the vlog, so I don't know if it's in the vlog, but I could hear Big Nick tell Trisha, yo, your latest song is tight.
Yeah. And
then she said, thanks, Big Nick. I appreciate it. And so that's cool. They had beef, but they were still cool with each other. I like that. Jason says, hey, Nick. Hey, Big Nick, I love your songs. And Big Nick says, fuck you, man. I could totally see that in my mind.
Yeah.
But then we move on to Joe's Teeny Weeny podcast. Joe's.
Yeah. And it was great, actually. He still does. It's so funny because for some reason, David now does a countdown, and then Joe's Teeny Weeny podcast intro starts while he's doing the countdown. But I think that's on purpose. But it's great. And then so they did a Secret Santa, and he only had 2 gifts. And he says he sent out an email to both of them and they must have not gotten it, which is so funny. But he brought 2 anyway, and then they were allowed to choose one or the other. And I think Jason took the bigger one, right? And then David took the little one.
Yes.
And then David got chicken noodle soup, and then Jason got a thong, right?
And then they also had 2 fake tickets to Jamaica.
Oh, really?
That's the right order. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then they noticed that Joe was wearing a matching thong. Which
I wonder if that was true.
I don't know, but that's what they said. They could see it.
Yeah, that would be.
And then they think because Joe keeps kind of like, I guess, focusing all of his attention, even the thong thing, to Jason, that they think Joe's gay for Jason, and they want him to come out because they don't like that there's this mystery of him either being straight or gay, and they just want him to come out.
That is funny, but they said tune in next week because that's when we're going to find out.
Yeah. They go into a Spotify podcast ad, and just so you guys know, we are also on Spotify. So definitely check us out on Spotify if that's what you use to listen to music or other podcasts. But if you are using or listening to other podcasts, make sure we are the first one on your list.
Well, and also if some responsible person who's on this podcast, who's responsible for getting our podcast put on Apple, if that person, if you're listening, if you could get on that and get that issue worked out.
Yeah, we need you to hurry up. Because this shit's taking too long.
Yeah, shit. What are we at now? We're pretty much 2 months now, right?
Yeah, we're 10 episodes in.
10 episodes in. This is the 10th?
Yeah. No, last week was 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they had numbers. But yeah. But I want us to buy the merchandise. Still crazy. Did I ever do the math on that? Okay. So how much would a hoodie be? On David's website?
I would say like 45 to 65. Let's just be conservative and say 55.
55.
Yeah.
So in the 2 months they were talking about selling 25,000 hoodies, that's $1.3 million.
Jesus Christ.
On one product.
That's dumb. I want one.
Do you really?
I want the clickbait one.
Is that the one he was talking about?
No, he's talking about something else. But I do want a clickbait hoodie.
Well, I thought it was. I think it's funny. Like somebody on the Chicago trip had on Ice Poseidon's Chicago trip had a T-shirt. I didn't even know he had those, and it just said Danino like in cursive across it. Uh-huh. And so he unzipped his jacket and he was like, "Oh wow, a true fan!" And this was like the very first ones we put out. Like, you've been around forever, blah blah blah, whatever. So he was so excited. And then he's like, "And you're committed, man. You're wearing the merch." And he's like, "Well, I don't usually wear it." and he's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I mean, it would look weird." Like, and he's like, "Why would it look weird?" He said, "I don't know. Got the Nino on my shirt."
Right.
But yeah, that's funny. Would you if you bought?
If I bought clickbait, I would, but I wouldn't wear like something that said David Dobrik.
Would you wear the clickbait if you were going to meet him?
No.
Okay, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. Like, I don't want him to know I really like him.
I like him so much that as soon as I get back in the car, I'm changing back into it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we went over all the topics they talked about last week's podcast. So if you enjoyed the podcast, make sure to tweet us at reviews the podcast, and the number 1 at the end. That's reviews the podcast 1. And we will tweet you back. If you are listening to us on Anchor, don't forget to leave us a voicemail. We will use it in the next podcast.
Well, I really hope everybody has a Merry Christmas.
Yep.
You as well.
Yep. You should hopefully have a good Christmas because I'm not
I'm getting you a new car. Oh,
I'm not going to talk to you tomorrow.
oh yes, you are.
No.
Yep.
But yeah, everyone have a great Christmas. Open those fucking presents and be happy because that shit is the best part of Christmas.
Opening the presents. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's like, it's so cool that there's a day. You know, don't you feel like other cultures have more days of stuff than we do?
What do you mean?
Like,
Aren't we?
like Chris,
Isn't the U.S. like a collective of that?
but the cultures within the culture, like, you know, so like Christmas, like think about Christmas and Thanksgiving specifically, like how big, like
Oh,
you
there's
just,
more.
well, just the commonality. You know, you're not going to be able to go shop anywhere.
Oh,
You
I see.
know,
Yeah.
you're going to be with family. You know, it's a big deal. Everybody knows what it means, and it's so big. But um, like Mexicans have the quinceañera. You know,
Right.
when somebody turns 15, and do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, it's like we really just have Thanksgiving and Christmas are the only days like that. There's no other holiday like that.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah. I guess so. Sure.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
All right.
we're
Hey, my name's Mike, not Jeff.
yeah. My name is Chris, and thank you for listening to this week's podcast on the Reviews Podcast. We'll see you in the next one.